Joining me from Beijing is Dali, a professor of political science at the University of Chicago. He's also senior advisor to the university's president and provost on global initiatives. So just how widespread would you say, or rampant, was this corruption when this campaign began?
Well, it was extremely extensive. It really reached every major sector. Any sector you think about that has regulatory powers, so would actually benefit from access to power, was affected. Overall, people were dining outside. The officials, sometimes they went to several banquets one evening because they have to host each other and also reach out to corporate executives and so on. So the atmosphere was extremely different at that time.
You know, a few years back, I was in Beijing and I went to dinner at a high-end restaurant with accompanied by a friend of mine there, and he said, you know, back in the day, we couldn't even get into a restaurant like this. For the example you were just saying, President Xi vowed to go after both the big shots, the tigers, the low-level bureaucrat flies when he launched this campaign. How important was it to say, look, we're going to go at the big boys as well as the people on the lower levels?
Well, I think certainly it's very important. It's not that actually there was no fight against corruption or party disciplinary issues before President Xi ascended to his current positions. But the issue is China has gone through a massive transformation. A lot of wealth has been created, and as a result, actually the scale of corruption grew in the process. So the issue for the party, therefore, is in fighting not only the small fish, but also big tigers. You can create a sort of credibility for the party. And in this particular case, actually, so sort of the transformation in terms of government behavior has been very, very extensive across the country. And as the reporter has emphasized, really is felt at the grassroots level very extensively. But at the same time, top officials are also very careful. I do want to emphasize, however, that it's not just about corruption per se, it's also about party discipline. A lot of the emphasis is really on making local officials follow central orders, whether it's in party behavior or in terms of fighting against environmental pollution and so on.
It's a change in culture, which isn't always easy. Do you see a dramatic change over 5 years, or is this something that's just going to be long-term?
Well, there has been very significant change in behavior, both at the grassroots level, but also at the top levels. But the problem is usually countries go through a long process. In the United States, for example, we used to have the spoils system, and it took the Pendleton Act and so on. It took more than 20 years for the process to be completed, more or less. And even now, of course, we have various concerns about corruption and influence peddling in the US. So in China, this is needs to be a persistent process. And of course, people do worry about whether the pressure is going to be kept up. And of course, there are also concerns that campaigns last only so long. Can that campaign be translated into institutional mechanisms and also routine behavior? And that requires a lot of effort. And at the same time, also, you need to have actually sort of a more or less societal participation involvement rather than simply top-down behavior. Again, a lot of questions that needs to be addressed down the road. And I think actually that's where also the Communist Party has been trying to develop new mechanisms, including the Central Supervision Commission and so on. But at the same time, also there are changes in other areas as well that actually sort of fit into this process.
Interesting. Dali Yang.